Induction stoves now outsell gas in 7 major US markets, yet 20% get returned within 90 days. Ever wonder what those buyers discovered that the glowing reviews never mentioned? Today I'll explain the hidden costs of switching to induction like you're 5 years old. By the end, you'll understand exactly which hidden expenses will hit your wallet and whether induction solves problems you actually have or creates new ones you never anticipated. Everyone's telling you induction is faster, cleaner, and more efficient than gas. And they're completely right about all of that. But here's what the reviews skip over. Switching to induction isn't like swapping one stove for another. It's more like switching from automatic to manual transmission. Sure, the car might be objectively better on paper, but your daily experience changes in ways nobody warned you about. Some of your cookware stops working entirely. Your electrical panel might need a $3,000 upgrade before you can even plug the thing in. And that perfect heat control everyone raves about? It takes weeks to master because induction doesn't behave like any stove you've used before. We're going to walk through the real hidden costs, not the ones in the product description, the ones that show up after it's too late to return it. Let's start with the most immediate shock. Your cookware might be completely useless now. Induction only works with magnetic materials. Cast iron? Great. Stainless steel? Perfect. But aluminum, copper, and most non-stick pans? Dead weight. You grab a magnet from your fridge right now and test your favorite pan. If the magnet doesn't stick, that pan won't work on induction. Period. That beautiful copper cookware set you got as a wedding gift, that $200 non-stick collection you just bought last year, might as well donate it. Here's the part that stings worse than you expect. The average home kitchen has 8 to 12 pans. If even half are incompatible, you're replacing 4 to 6 pieces. Quality induction-compatible cookware runs $60 to $150 per pan. That's $300 to $900 just to cook again. And even if you're willing to replace everything, there are edge cases nobody mentions. Woks don't sit flat, so they lose contact with the surface and heat unevenly. Traditional espresso makers often won't work. That percolator you use every morning? Probably incompatible. You're not just buying a stove. You're potentially replacing your entire kitchen arsenal, piece by piece, as you discover what doesn't work. Now here's where it gets expensive fast. Most homes aren't wired for the power induction demands. Induction stoves typically need a dedicated 240-volt circuit with 40 to 50 amps. Gas stoves? They barely use any electricity, just enough to power the igniter and maybe a light. So if you're switching from gas to induction, you're jumping from almost zero electrical load to one of the biggest draws in your entire house. If your electrical panel is older or already maxed out, you can't just plug it in. You need an electrician to upgrade your panel first. That's $1,500 to $3,000 before you've cooked a single meal. And if your home has aluminum wiring or an outdated service entrance, that cost doubles. Many homes built before 1990 have 100 amp service. Modern homes typically have 200 amp service. Adding induction might push you over capacity during peak usage. You could be running the stove, the dryer, and the AC simultaneously and trip your main breaker. The solution isn't just adding a circuit. It's upgrading your entire electrical service from the street. That's $4,000 to $8,000 in some cases. The stove price you see online isn't the real price. The real price includes rewiring your kitchen and possibly your entire home's electrical infrastructure. Here's something almost nobody considers until the power goes out. Gas stoves work during blackouts. You light the burner with a match and you're cooking. Induction? Dead. No electricity means no cooking at all. If you live somewhere with frequent storms or an unreliable grid, you just lost your backup cooking method. You're now dependent on the power company for every meal. Some people buy portable gas burners as backup. Congratulations, you now own 2 stoves and one of them defeated the whole point of going electric. This hits differently depending on where you live. Urban apartments with stable grids? Probably fine. Rural areas prone to ice storms? You just made yourself vulnerable. And it's not just about convenience, it's about food waste. Your fridge stays cold for 4 hours without power. But if you can't cook anything, your freezer contents become a race against time. But here's what really catches people off guard: the learning curve. Induction responds instantly to temperature changes, like truly instant, no lag, no waiting for coils to heat up or cool down. That sounds amazing until you overshoot and burn something because you're used to gas taking 10 seconds to respond. You turn the heat down on gas and you have time to adjust. You turn it down on induction and it cools immediately. Your muscle memory is suddenly wrong. Every recipe you've cooked 100 times now behaves differently. The pan gets hotter faster. Searing works great, but simmering takes practice because there's almost no forgiveness. Most people don't realize how much they rely on the thermal inertia of gas. That gentle residual heat that keeps cooking even after you reduce the flame, gone. You need to anticipate temperature changes differently. It takes most people weeks to recalibrate. And during those weeks, you're burning garlic and boiling over pasta water like you've never cooked before. Professional chefs adapt quickly because they cook daily. Home cooks who meal prep on weekends, it takes months to feel natural again. Now check this out. Some people literally cannot use induction safely. If you have a pacemaker, the electromagnetic field can interfere with it. Most modern pacemakers are shielded well enough that it's not a huge risk. But it's not zero risk either. Same goes for insulin pumps and some other medical devices. The magnetic field is strong enough to affect electronics within a few inches of the cooktop. Most doctors say it's fine if you stay a reasonable distance away. But if you're the person cooking, you're leaning over that stove constantly. You're stirring, you're checking, you're close. For some people, that's a deal breaker. Nobody mentioned at the appliance store. Here's what you need to understand about why this matters. Induction is objectively better as a technology. It's more energy efficient, it heats faster. It's safer because the surface doesn't stay hot. It doesn't pump combustion gases into your home. All of that is true, but it's subjectively harder as a transition. The gap between the sales pitch and your actual kitchen reality is massive. If you're building a new home, have a modern electrical panel, and don't mind replacing your cookware, induction is fantastic. But if you're retrofitting an older home with a tight budget and gear you already love, the hidden costs stack up fast. You're looking at the stove price, plus new pans, plus electrical work, plus the learning curve, plus the loss of backup cooking during outages. And here's the thing nobody wants to admit. Some kitchens just aren't set up for it. If you live in an apartment, you can't upgrade the panel. If you're renting, your landlord isn't paying for rewiring. If you live rural with spotty power, you just gave up independence. Induction works beautifully for some people. For others, it quietly becomes an expensive compromise they didn't plan for. This matters to you because the internet makes induction sound like a no-brainer upgrade. And for some people, it genuinely is. But the reviews are written by people who had the budget and the setup to absorb all the hidden costs. They had electricians on speed dial. They had disposable income for new cookware. They had time to relearn cooking techniques. You might not. And that's not a moral judgment. It's just reality. The decision isn't whether induction is good. The decision is whether it's worth it for your specific situation, your budget, your home, your cooking style, your backup plans. So let's recap. Induction only works with magnetic cookware, potentially costing you hundreds in replacements. Most older homes need electrical upgrades costing thousands before installation. You lose all cooking ability during power outages. There's a steep learning curve that makes you feel like a beginner again. Some medical devices don't mix well with the electromagnetic field, and even though induction is technically superior, the transition costs can outweigh the benefits if your situation isn't ideal. The stove itself might cost $1,200, but the real cost is everything that comes after. So here's what I want to know. Given your home's age, your budget, and your cooking habits, does induction actually solve problems you have, or does it just trade familiar problems for expensive new ones?